Good morning, listeners and viewers of Concerned Citizens Media. Welcome back and nice to have you here. So, as usual, I have some news to share with you. I will read some of the news, then we will share the videos at the end. Thank you again for coming back. Let's go to the news. Here are the news and the Concerned Citizens Media comment for February 12, 2021. Oromo political prisoners hunger strikes continue for the 15th day in Ethiopia. Their conditions are worsening from day to day, and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia and his Prosperity Party officials are eagerly waiting to declare their days at any moment instead of resolving their concerns or ending their illegal imprisonment of these individuals. However, Oromo protests are ongoing back home and in diaspora communities. Protesters are reported in Yabello, Shashamane, Ginki, West Arsi, East and West Hararge, Shoa, Asala, and also in a diaspora community such as in Denver, Colorado, Seattle, Washington, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Munich, Germany, and Calgary, Canada, and in other countries. Their demands are similar. All protesters are calling for the immediate release of the Oromo political prisoners and for an end to oppressors in Oromia. These are some of the slogans chanted by these Oromo protesters back home and in diaspora community. Abiy must go. Abiy is a killer. Down, down, Abiy. Free Johar Muhammad. Free Bakala Garba. Free Hamza Borana. Free Abdi Ragasa. And release all Oromo political prisoners. Justice for Hachalu Hundessa. We need peace before election, and some other slogans were expressed. Oromo religious leaders also called on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to release these Oromo political prisoners before they die in his hand. But Abiy Ahmed repeatedly rejected religious and traditional leaders' mediation for the problems the country is facing. So the hunger strike is still going on. Let's keep the prayer and our resistance continue until they are released from their illegal imprisonment. So keep the fighting going on. Ethiopia under Abiy Ahmed leadership remains a threat to journalists' free and fair reporting. On Wednesday, his undercover operatives broke into journalist Lucy Casa's house and threatened her with her life if she keeps reporting about the TPLF news and conditions. Journalist Lucy Casa reported facing horrible experiences with this illegal and at the gunpoint search of her Addis Ababa home. She also reported these government agents accusing her as TPLF supporter, which she has nothing to do with them. Lucy Casa is a reporter for the media centered in Norway. In a similar manner, Abiy Ahmed's undercover operatives also broke into OMN journalist Meseret Daba's house in Addis Ababa in the middle of the night at the gunpoint without court warrant and taken her into custody. Meseret Daba was one of the Yellow Movement recently arrested by Abiy Ahmed security forces for her showing up for the Oromo political prisoners court hearing and released her on bail bond. She was targeted for her straight talks on the sufferings of Oromo and Oromos under Abiy Ahmed ruling and for her defensive speeches for Johar Mohammed, Bakala Gerba, Hamza Borana, and other Oromo political prisoners. Abiy Ahmed's animosity against journalists and freedom of press is clear, and the pressure on him and his administration must continue at home and at the global stages. We must not allow the dictatorship to deep-rooted in Ethiopia. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's messengers unwelcomed in Tigray region. Abiy Ahmed's diplomatic peace and reconciliation delegation, which include various religious leaders, Peace Minister Muferiat Kamil, and other government officials, rejected by the Mekelle residents upon their arrivals. These Mekelle residents are extremely angry about all the atrocities and human rights violations in their region. Their region is suffering under Abiy Ahmed's the so-called law and order operations. The Mekelle residents expressed their displeasure with the occupation and at this delegation by throwing stones, protesting against them, and by refusing to hold talks with them. Abiy Ahmed's delegation was forced to return to Addis Ababa immediately. One student was reported killed by Abiy Ahmed's military during this confrontation. So the Mekelle residents are angry, disappointed, and unhappy with this delegation, and they protested and they sent them back home. They don't want to talk with them, and these religious leaders, and including the peace minister, they were supporting the military operation. So that was they are pissed off. The danger of famine is looming in the Tigray region. The Ethiopian Red Cross president, Mr. Abaratola, reported that 10,000 plus Tigrayans might die of hunger, and 80% of the region is inaccessible for his agency's humanitarian work due to instability, transportation, and other challenges in these areas. Mr. Abaratola also said that 3.8 million Tigrayans need humanitarian aid. 3.8 million Tigrayans need humanitarian aid. He also expressed his fears that When roads are open and the stability is secured in those inaccessible areas, we might see more and more victims of famine and other related problems. Another explosive report on Tigray region is also provided by the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Federation President. Speaking after visit of Mekelle, Francisco Roca, president of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society, said, "I am very concerned about the conditions that I saw during my visit, including people internally displaced by the fighting, especially children, their mothers, and the elderly. It was clear to me that people in Tigray need much more support than they are currently receiving." He also expressed about lack of basic medical supplies in hospitals and about possible warning signs of malnutrition in the region. Only 4 hospitals are functioning at the basic level from 40 hospitals in the Tigray. 140 ambulance vehicles were also stolen and none available for service now. Eritrean soldiers looted several public and private properties in the Tigray region. There are more than 200,000 internally displaced persons and 60,000 plus fled the country to be refugees in Sudan and about 230 in Djibouti. So all this trouble, all this famine, hunger, looting of property, destruction of property happened thanks to the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Really, this is a treason. Ethiopians are silent, but he should be sued and removed from power for inviting foreign countries to kill his own citizens, to destroy hospitals, churches, mosques, and all public facilities. It's never happened before. So it's a very treasonous act. It's a treason, and he should be accounted for that. He is still denying, but it's already clear that Eritrean soldiers are in Ethiopia with multiple resources, satellite, personal evidences. They are there. He invited them. So that's a treason. It's a treason. So he should be impeached, but we don't have lawmakers over there. Everybody is a yes man. The parliament, the federal police, the military, everyone is controlled by him. So who's gonna challenge him? But this is a very serious crime. Very serious crime. And he will be accountable one day for this horrible crime, for inviting a foreign country to kill his own citizens and to invade his own country, plus exposing the countries for foreign war, making the country weak. Then others will, like Sudan, is pushing further deep into Ethiopia thanks to Abiy policy. All this is for political gain, nothing else, by killing people. So I hope you will be accountable for this. Okay, this is a local news, but it's also a warning for the rest of us. A funeral home van was stolen today in St. Louis County, Missouri, with a woman's body inside. St. Louis County police are searching for a vehicle that has funeral decals on it that was stolen Thursday morning in North County. At around 10:26 a.m., police officers responded to the quick trip on Lesher Road for a report of stolen vehicle. Police said the vehicle was left running and unattended in the parking lot when someone got inside and drove away. The vehicle is a white 2012 Nissan NV 1500 van with Missouri license plate 5MDX73. The van has William C. Harris funeral decals on its side and the green wreaths with the letter H inside of them on the back. The police believe the van could be in Godfrey, Illinois. Anyone with the information should call the St. Louis County Police Department at 636-529-8210 or Crime Stoppers at 1-866-371-TIPS or 8477 to remain anonymous. Channel 5 on your side reported. So lock your doors and take your key with you. That is the police advice for the general public. So this thing is commonly happening. The last time I reported one lady left her child inside the car and the car is running. The thief immediately just jumped on it, took with the child. Luckily he returned the child to mom and they took the car. So this thing is happening. Be careful, guys. Don't let the car running. Don't leave your key inside the car. Be careful. Somebody's watching you. The United States rejoined the World Human Rights Council as an observer. Thanks to President Joe Biden's intent to protect fundamental freedom around the world, the United States is coming back to this global council. Former President Donald Trump removed the United States from this council, complaining about its operations. So Biden is fixing all the problems former president created. You know, he was I can't even say. He was trying to isolate the United States under America First policy. He was out from World Health Organization, from Human Rights Council, from challenging the NATO. All he do is just America first. You can't do in this globally interconnected world. You can't do that. We have to work together to fix the global challenges, in a cooperative manner. So Biden is on the right track so far. Trump is on the second impeachment trial in the Senate. More video evidence presented for 100 senators who are ready to serve their duty, hopefully, according to the Constitution and the rules of law, not as a protector of former President Donald Trump. That is concerned citizens' wish or hope. I hope they will do their duty according to rules of law and the Constitution, not as a protector or as a saver of former President Donald Trump. I hope so. They did save him the first time, but he could be removed at that time. This guy, he did something bad in that call, you know, looking for a bribe, uh, but he could be removed, but he refused to give all the evidence. His cabinet refused to give the evidence, and the Republicans stood with him, challenged the hearings, challenging the witness at that time, if you remember. So this time, the evidence is open on camera. I don't know what they're gonna say, unless blindly stand with this guy. It's a crime is committed. These videos of the capital insurrection showed the criminal acts of these individuals who are encouraged and ordered by the former President Donald Trump. These horrifying scenes at the Capitol Hill are crossed the freedom of expression protection, and all involved and ordered, encouraged, deserve punishment. Lives lost, property destroyed, and our representatives' safety were threatened, plus our centuries-old election integrity and democracy are threatened and undermined. Let them accountable for what they did and move forward. So we're gonna wait and see how this trial will end. I hope this evidence, all these videos, all these crime scene videos will convince at least to 17 Republicans. We don't need all of them. We just need 17 to convict this president, to convict the former president for all the conspiracies and false claims on the election fraud, and encouraging those protesters to go to the capital here. Almost, the intention was clear, to kill the representatives or to harm them, to destroy the public property. That's clearly seen on these videos. So I hope they will be accountable. I don't think the Republicans have other reasons. We will see, and I hope they will convict him based on these factors. He told them to go there and to fight like a hell. If they don't fight like a hell, they will not have a country. What evidence do you need more than this? So we will see, and that is the reading part. Thank you again, and I have several short videos, then we will finish quickly. Let's see. There you go. The first one is the Oromo protesters in Seattle. You might already saw it, but I just want to show you a little bit. Then we're gonna continue to the other videos. Okay, let's see. Come on. Now, let's see. Here we go.
Down Abiy! Down Abiy! Down Abiy! We march for peace! We march for justice! We march for justice! We march for peace! Stop killing our leader! Stop killing our leaders! Stop killing our leaders! Free our leaders! We all stand with our people! We stand for justice! We stand for justice! We support our leader! We support our leader! Jamar Muhammad, our leader! Magala Garba, our leader! Mikhail Morena, our leader! Amda Morena, our leader! Justice for Ajalu! Justice for Ajalu! Ethiopian government a killer! Ethiopian government a killer! Ethiopian government a killer! Stop genocide in Tigray! Stop genocide in Benishangul! Stop genocide in Walaita! Stop genocide in Oromia! Stop genocide in Oromia! Stop killing our people! Stop killing our leaders! Stop killing our leaders! We stand with Jawar! We are Jawar! We are Bakala! We are Hamza Borana! We are Abdi Rakasa! We are Kore Gambachuayana! We are Mikhail Borana! We are Shamsuddin Taha! We are imprisoned! Justice for Ajalu! 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 Free Jawar Muhammad! 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 Free Bakala Garba! 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 Free Hamza Borana! Free Hamza Borana! Free Gamachuayana! Free Gamachuayana! Free Gamachuayana! Free Shamsuddin Taha! 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 Free Lamivenya! Free Lamivenya! Free Lamivenya! Free Makka Morana! Free Mikhail Morana! Free Abdi Ragasa! Free Abdi Ragasa! Free Abdi Ragasa! Free all Oromo prisoners! Free all Oromo prisoners! Free all Oromo prisoners! Oromoma is not a crime! Oromoma is not a crime! Oromoma is not a crime! Freedom of speech is not a crime! Freedom of speech is not a crime!
Okay, that's a sample. It's a long video, so you can watch it. The whole video from OMN Media. Thanks to OMN, you can get it from there. Uh, so that's enough for sample. The message is clear. They stand with Oromo prisoners. They are demanding for their immediate release. So they have to keep the pressure going on. Let's go to the other video. Okay.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am the voice of reason. So just a quick update on the Ethiopian, Tigray, Eritrean, Sudanese conflict that is occurring inside of the Horn of Africa. In the last 24 hours, there have been two events that I think are worth reporting on. One inside the Tigray capital of Mekelle. There was a protest against the occupation of Mekelle and Tigray by Eritrean and Ethiopian federal forces. At the same time that this protest was occurring, a delegation of religious leaders, a delegation of Ethiopian religious leaders had arrived in Mekelle to assess the situation. And this protest was designed to be held in tandem with the arrival of this religious delegation. And at some point, Ethiopian military units or Ethiopian militia units or Eritrean irregulars or regular formations opened fire on the protest that was taking place inside of Mekelle, killing at least one, possibly many more, and reports also are filtering in of many injured and many incarcerated. The other issue at hand is in this area along the Sudan, Ethiopian, Eritrean border area. There continues to be a buildup of Ethiopian forces, whether this is designed to take offensive action against Sudan or is designed to launch attacks against Tigrayan state militia formations. We're not quite sure. However, there has been more sporadic fighting taking place between Ethiopian forces and Sudanese forces. The buildup continues with Ethiopian regular formations, which include many trucks, truck-borne infantry, and multiple launch rocket systems being built up in this area.
Take a bite of Faye Best Self, and you'll taste a deliciously rich yogurt smooth enough to ski down, along with penguins, followed by a tiger, who's also on skis. But you won't taste that it's lactose-free.
Colonel Gabre, the spokesperson of Tigray Defense Forces, in an interview with DWTV today claimed that Tigray Defense Forces had inflicted heavy losses on Ethiopian National Defense Forces on the 9th and 10th of February in an operation called Siom Mesfin Operation. Siom Mesfin is the late TPLF leader who was killed by Ethiopian National Defense Forces last month. According to Colonel Gabre, the fighting took place in central Tigray region of Ethiopia in Kola Tambian, Adi Jelo, and Itaga Hamas areas, which are in central Tigray region of Ethiopia. 11th Division and Commando Unit of ENDF were targeted by Tigray Defense Forces. More than 300 ENDF soldiers have been killed, around 150 injured, more than 10 taken prisoner, large quantities of weapons including mortar, sniper rifles, and tanks as well have been captured by Tigray defense forces. Viewers, it's difficult to verify the claims made by Colonel Gabriel of TDF. What I can confirm is that yesterday I received some satellite images which showed that large fires were seen in central Tigray region of Ethiopia in Kola Tambian, viewers. Kola Tambian is the place where, according to Colonel Gabriel, fighting took place. And images are also confirming that large fires were seen in Kola Tambian near a road, a main road, viewers. It seems that a convoy of ENDF was ambushed by Tigray defense forces in Kola Tambian. Secondly, viewers, yesterday I informed you about a statement given by Ethiopian Red Cross Society, which yesterday said that 90%, 80% of Tigray was inaccessible. Today, Ethiopian Red Cross backed out of the statement. According to Ethiopian Red Cross, Tigray is accessible. It's not that 80% of Tigray area-wise inaccessible. Only 80% of Tigray population is unreachable because of shortage of supplies, infrastructure issues, terrain issues. So Ethiopian Red Cross is now saying that Tigray is accessible area-wise. Only 80% of Tigray population, which is in rural areas, is unreachable. Thank you for watching.
Appreciate this. My view on the news guy is really actively following Ethiopia-Sudan border issue.
This is the village of Aleya in the state of Gadaref. The people here are poor. The only water comes from the river. The women still gather firewood for cooking. Hassan Ibrahim's wife was out looking for firewood when she was killed in an attack by Ethiopian militiamen last month. He's now raising their 4 sons alone. The youngest, nearly 2 years old, is already starting to show signs of malnutrition.
She went out with 12 women to gather wood. The Ethiopians came from across the river and attacked. They killed 6, including a young baby. Since she died, our youngest hasn't had proper food. She keeps calling for her.
Aleya lies in Al-Fashaka, an area of about 3,000 square kilometers contested by Sudan and neighboring Ethiopia. Sudan's government uses a 1902 colonial agreement signed by Ethiopia's then emperor to claim the region. But ethnic Amhara farmers from Ethiopia say the area belongs to them and they have been farming it for nearly 5 decades. Some of those who live near the Sudan-Ethiopia border have reported having family members kidnapped by Ethiopian militiamen and held for ransom. The attacks usually happen at the start of the farming season in April and May. Now, with the army pushing back Ethiopian farmers from Al-Fashaka, there are fears this season could be the most violent yet. The pushback of Ethiopian farmers in the area started in December last year. Since 2002, talks to demarcate have stalled between the two sides. Sudan wants the boundaries drawn according to the 1902 deal. Ethiopia, on the other hand, wants to renegotiate for a new deal. After a failed round of talks in December, Ethiopia stated it won't continue without Sudan withdrawing from Al-Fashaka, something Sudan's army has refused to do.
The most important thing was securing the land, and that's happened. We've taken back our land and the land of our ancestors, and we won't move from here. It's not only the people of the area who will be buried here. People from all over Sudan can be buried here.
The army says it's taken back more than half of the farmland once occupied by Ethiopians. Ibrahim Yahya says his farm was one of them.
I still can't farm on it because Ethiopians sometimes come and attack us. They kill the villagers. We need security, but you can see the condition. We need development to live, to farm. There are poor roads, poor machinery. Life here is hard.
Residents say they hope the move by the army to take control of Al-Fashaka is followed by development projects that will make their lives easier. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Aleya, Gadaref State.
Your timepiece makes a statement. Don't let a repair stop you from wearing it. Trust the experts at Watch Technicians. Our highly trained watchmakers make your repairs locally. Learn more at
has been closely tracking, even as Washington has formally designated the military takeover of Myanmar as a coup. Myanmar's army chief, General Min Aung Hlaing, has announced that the military ouster of Aung San Suu Kyi's government was in fact inevitable. In his first public comments since the coup, the general said that the military takeover was in line with the law after the government failed to respond to its grievances over electoral fraud allegations. He added that it was enacted after a lot of requests were made from within the country. General Hlaing was given legislative, judicial and executive powers, effectively returning Myanmar to military rule after a 10-year experiment with democracy. The speech was posted on the military's official Facebook page. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has formally designated it as a military coup. Listen in.
The United States is deeply concerned by the Burmese military's detention of civilian government leaders, including State Councilor Aung San Suu Kyi and civil society leaders. After a review of all the facts, we have assessed that the Burmese military's actions on February 1st, having deposed the duly elected head of government, constituted a military coup d'etat. The United States will continue to work closely with our partners throughout the region and the world to support respect for democracy and the rule of law in Burma, as well as to promote accountability for those responsible for overturning Burma's democratic transition.
The designation means that the U.S. will not assist the Myanmar government with any more financial aid, though any impact will be mainly symbolic, as almost all assistance goes to non-governmental entities. The military was already under U.S. sanctions over its brutal campaign against the Rohingya minority. For more details about the developments in Myanmar, journalist Dave Grunbaum is now joining us live from Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to Beyond, Dave. My first question for you. Give us a sense of what's happening in Myanmar as of now. We know that the NLD leaders have told supporters to not take the coup lying down and use civil disobedience methods. So tell us more about the same.
Yeah, well, last night you saw some real signs of that. On the streets of Yangon, the biggest city in the country, people were honking their horns. People pulled out pots and pans to bang them on the streets and from their balconies as a sign to show that they are against this military coup. Today, a Myanmar civil disobedience group said that doctors at 70 hospitals across the country, doctors and other medical staff, have refused to work, again to show that they are not going along with this military coup. There's also talk about possibly boycotting military-linked products. This could include certain cell phone services, brands of beer. You have to understand that the Myanmar military controls vast businesses across the country. Now, the natural follow-up question that comes up here, of course, is will we at some point in the days or weeks ahead see mass mobilization, thousands of people potentially marching down the streets in the main cities of Myanmar? I've spoken to people on the ground in Myanmar today who tell me they're having discussions about that, but no decisions have been made. That would be quite a risk for these people to take, because if you look at past history, when there were these types of mass demonstrations on the streets, the previous military juntas sometimes reacted with not just force, but with deadly force. So these people would be taking quite a risk. And the visuals of that happening, of those type of demonstrations with thousands of people, would be the type of visual thing getting around the world that the military would not want out there.
Right. Now, Dave, what is the condition of the detained leaders as of now, especially Aung San Suu Kyi?
Yeah, well, a senior National League for Democracy official, her political party, says that Aung San Suu Kyi is in good health. He posted this on his Facebook page. He also says that she's been walking around the grounds of her compound in Naypyidaw, the capital. Now, we have not heard directly from Aung San Suu Kyi since the coup took place. There was a statement that came out on Monday in her name, but that statement was actually prepared in advance of the coup. It came out after the coup, but was prepared before in anticipation that the coup might happen. So we've not heard directly from her for days now.
Right. My final question for you, Dave. Global criticism has poured in against the military in Myanmar, yet the military insists that they acted within the law. So can global powers come together with some strong action to make any change, or will the international community remain divided on how to respond to this crisis?
Yeah, well, right now you're looking at it in some ways, you're looking at certain Western countries that really want to come down hard on Myanmar as hard as they possibly can. They've got some limited leverage, though, in that case. They're joined by some Eastern countries as well. But then you've got countries such as China and Russia. Their militaries have strong, long-standing links with Myanmar's military. They're giving out muted responses. You haven't seen anything, any statement from the UN Security Council yet, and that divide is a big reason why. What Myanmar also cares about is what the Association of Southeast Asian Nations says, and they basically have a policy of not getting deeply involved in other countries' internal affairs, so you've seen very muted responses from the other countries in Southeast Asia on this.
Right, Dave, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for all your inputs, and thank you for joining us on this broadcast.
I think that's all. That is the video I selected for today. So I always try to bring global news to you. So we are interconnected. The globe is interconnected. We have to know not only about Ethiopia. We have to know all, the major issues: Africa, Asia, Middle East, Europe, whatever the issue is, and we have to see how the people fighting for their freedom. And when we come to Ethiopia, the one we are, the challenge we are facing now is very tough one. These people, I don't think they know much about diplomatic pressure. They, especially due to the advice they are getting from Isaias Afwerki, this guy don't care. He think like he can live in isolation without a need for global cooperation or other assistance with global relationship. So Abiy maybe try to do the same way if Ethiopians let him do it. If we are silent on the face of all these atrocities against our people, against our country, he will be successful. Our silence is giving him more room to be prepared militarily, with undercover operatives, federal force, militia. He will use all the resources to keep his power by crushing, by causing bloodshed in that country. He is totally changed. He is not a saver anymore. He is not a peacemaker anymore. He is not a deal maker. He is a dictator, clearly shown his real face. So it's up to us to challenge him, to force him to give up power. He and his Prosperity Party, they think they're gonna win the election. They will have legitimacy to lead that country in such horrible situation. I don't think so. They will be challenged. They will be forced to leave the power or to be inclusive, or to include others, all responsible parties. Who cares about that country? Abiy is not the only one responsible for Ethiopia. Who gave him the power? Who? Why he is only cares? He is only one citizen of more than, Ethiopia has 110 million. So he is not the one deciding about that country, but he think that way because he got the resources in his hand, the military, all yes men, the federal police, the court, the militia, because he ordered them as his own servant. That will come to an end. How? By public force, by public pressure, and plus the global help, So I see intensive student protests, which is encouraging back home. But this should not be left only for students. They are not the only ones suffering. All Oromos are suffering, except PP members and the PP officials. So, as we listen to the other protests in Myanmar and other countries, all are inclusive. Doctors, teachers, farmers, mothers, fathers, coming together in a big number. We have seen in India farmers protest against the new rules. So if we don't come with that big number, if we don't show up in a big cities, Addis Ababa, Adama, it's going to be harder for those guys to give power. They have to go to with a big number to like they did in under TPLF time. It should be inclusive. Don't leave it to only to students. It's okay. It's okay. Mostly revolution starts with students from history, yes, but they should be also supported with the society, like we see in the diaspora community. Yes, Keros and the Kares are leading the revolution. It's encouraging. We want them to lead the revolution. We want them to organize the revolution. Go ahead, good, but they need our support. They need doctors, teachers, merchants, farmers to be on their side. This is missing from the demonstrations I've been following in Oromia, in different parts of Oromia. So we should clearly tell them this message. We have to encourage them to come up with a big number. Don't break anything, peacefully for few rounds. If it doesn't work, then we will come back with other strategies. Now is only peacefully with the resistance sign repeatedly. Show this. We don't want dictators in Ethiopia. We want freedom. We want justice for all prisoners. So the other one is the campaign also should continue. Campaign contacting senators, congressmen, supporting OLA, and calling senators, lobbying for HR 128. It was on the pipeline but stopped because Abiy was showing good faces to Ethiopians and to the global community. That's why they say, let's see how things going. Now the global community, they know how evil Abiy Ahmed is. They know how his supporters are evil, how the soldiers are treating their own citizens, how the Abiy Ahmed and his team are exposing their own citizens for foreign countries to invade, to loot, to destroy their properties. That's, I said, it's a treason. So we already seen. So the pressure should continue. I think we have to bring Leganna, that it happened before. Leganna, I don't know why they ignore it. It's very important at this time. The embargo in different cities, towns, they should bring it back. As we know, the country is in a big mess diplomatically. There's a diplomatic pressure on it because they lie to the global communities, lie. The war is not over. They say the war is over after like 3 weeks, but the war is still going on. TPLF scoring military victory. Tigray region is inaccessible. Oromia is also in a similar situation for more than 2 years. Benishangul, the same thing. The country is in a mess. We demanded this guy to resign, but he's still there. He's exposing the country. He's making the country weaker diplomatically, financially, militarily. So we need to keep the pressure to bring change. He is weak. He looks strong, but he's weak. He's evil. He is very evil. He will not hesitate to kill anyone who challenge him. No dialogue, no reconciliation. I don't know, maybe he was trained to do that when he was working in intelligence, as intelligence officer. But he cheated us, he lied to us, he cheated the global community. He will pay the price. He already in isolation. He's isolated. He will not be successful in this way. And some ethnicities, some group are supporting him because they are getting temporary benefit, temporary advantage over others. The new generation will not accept the old style of governing that country. Ethiopia will not be built on the bloodshed of others. They have to know that. No way. That type of building the country is over. Ethiopia should be built through dialogue, reconciliation, accepting others, bringing others to the table, not by killing, not by arresting, not by torturing, through dialogue, through talks, through reconciliation, and through respect for each other. So the Ghana should come back. The protests should intensify, should be inclusive from all groups of people, doctors, teachers, all, farmers, not only students. Everybody should be included, and the global pressure also should continue. The diaspora is doing good. Seattle, we don't see anyone in New York. We need one. Europe is, yes, visible, but it's not big like before. Australia, we need more. Canada, doing good, but we need more. Minnesota is the best. They have to continue. Keep the pressure until that country is free and freedom reach for all prisoners who are suffering for Oromos, not for themselves. So we have to keep the fight, do whatever we can until the freedom rings in the mountains of Ethiopia and Oromia, everywhere. Thank you for listening. I will be back again with other news and a comment. The fight should go on. We have to keep the resistance sign until peace, democracy, freedom, justice arrive in Ethiopia, in Oromia. See you next time. So long, everyone.